Well, I would point out in Europe about 60% of our product is clean diesels, and that is the propulsion system of choice in Europe right now. The driver for that is purely economic. If all you have to do is the math. To a diesel in the U.S., and particularly regulators in the U.S. don't seem to be real diesel friendly. So to emissionize a diesel for the U.S. costs quite a bit. And then you've got the diesel engine itself, which is a little more expensive. I think every manufacturer expects to recover some of that in the premium you would charge for a diesel at the dealership. Well, the offsetting benefit for the customer has to be the improvement in the fuel economy. But if you look at diesel prices in North America, they've typically been higher than gasoline last several years, and sometimes substantially higher, 50 cents a gallon more, $1 a gallon more. So you can just do the math. If I've got to spend, say, $3,000 at a dealership to get the diesel, and then every time I fill up, my fuel is costing me 50 cents a gallon more than if I had a gasoline engine, it takes quite a high number of miles to pay that back. In Europe, regulators took a different proposition for their CO2, for a CO2 strategy. They basically taxed petrol so that diesel fuel remained lower in price than the petrol. Consumers, at the end of the day, are rational. They make rational decisions. It doesn't take long to figure out, well, at this price delta, where petrol is, you know, higher than diesel, I can pay back my diesel premium pretty quickly. That's a better deal. That's the exact analysis we did with our EcoBoost engines. You know, the premium on an EcoBoost engine is way below what a diesel would be, and it's way below what a hybrid is. And based on fuel prices, customers, they just do the back of the envelope calculation and say, this is good value for me for my money. But the technology, we not only have it, I think I consider ourselves leaders of it in Europe. So we're ready. The good news about the global platforms, should something change here, should suddenly regulators fall in love with diesels or the price of diesel fuel go way below gasoline, we have global platforms like the Fiesta, the Focus, the Transit Connect. We can bring those diesels in, and it's, you know, missionizing it, but the platforms are completely set up for it, and all the work's been done for it because we sell them in Europe. Thanks for your questions. Yeah?
I've only got one question. In regard to the automatic start-stop technology, how is that going to impact occupants on a day like this in a city like this when the air conditioning stops running?
Yeah, on these 100-degree days, we'll monitor the temperature inside the cabin, and even if you're stopped and haven't moved your foot off the brake, we can turn it back on to go, you know, we'll turn it back on after a period of time so that you have your air conditioning. So I think right now we're setting up strategies that will monitor the cabin temperature and say, you know, it's 110 out here. We might not be able to shut this engine down as long as we had wanted to.
Not an electric compressor like a...
Well, I was just about to say, that's the other choice. Like in a hybrid, you put in an electric one. So as we look at what's the best, you know, as we start to roll out the technology, you know, some of it will evolve, and those will become options where you can put an electric compressor in, and then you don't have to worry about the engine shut, you know, the Fiat not running, so you can keep the cabin cool. That's it. I've answered everything. Yes.
Have you considered making your EcoBoost engines E85 capable with a variable boost turbo so that you could increase the turbo boost by the percentage of the alcohol content? Ricardo had an engine at our auto show 2 years ago. They were showing that had this feature, and they claimed spectacular power improvements, fuel economy improvements. Turbocharging and alcohol were born for each other, and particularly when you up the boost to take advantage of it.
Yeah, we have actually, that's in our research area, and they've actually spent quite a bit of time studying those systems, and I think they do have a lot of good potential. Particularly if you think about keeping two fuel systems. You have a regular gasoline system and you have the ethanol, and you keep them separate so that you can really leverage the ethanol boosting when you want that high torque. And it all, you know, I kept looking at that and saying this could be a good opportunity if diesels really, you know, keep going the way they've been going in North America. The truck customer still is a very big diesel customer because they need, I know it's hard to think of people need it, but they need 825 foot-pounds of torque. I mean, they need it for their trucks, and the ethanol boosting can get you that out of a gasoline engine. Some of the things that we've been struggling with are maintaining two fuel systems within the vehicle, obviously, how to set the control strategies to know whether I should be injecting gasoline or whether I should be injecting the ethanol and those types of things, and having one fuel injector that can handle that wide range. Because right now, you have to be able to, you set your system up so that it basically assumes and can manage the lowest octane rating that you're going to see, not the highest. And if you did a separate system and you knew exactly what was coming in, then you could set your spark accordingly for that much higher octane rating that ethanol has.
Well, my concept was that when you're on regular gasoline, you have relatively low boost, but then when you fill up the tank with the 85, the boost goes up.
The boost goes up, right.
You need a dual system on the car. I think you just, if you're buying gasoline, then you suffer with the lower power output, and you have the normal boost that you would have anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know 100% of all the details they've been working, but I know that is something that's been on our radar screen, and that the active work in our Research and Advanced Center.
Do you plan to expand E85 capability, say, across the line, or to a greater degree?
You know, we've got it on almost all our engines. We have some engines that are bucket tapped. It's a little harder to do that, particularly a turbocharged bucket tappet. Because you end up having a lot more stress, right, on the bucket, and you'd end up needing an adjustment at your dealership. But one of the things that we look at there, it also plays into the same discussion we had in electrification. I could provide this opportunity to customers, but if they can't find a gas station in their neighborhood that has ethanol, that has E85, or if they find one, it's going to cost them 3 times as much as gasoline, they're not going to buy it. They're not going to want that because it doesn't make any sense to them. So it's another subject that requires the infrastructure to be there to support it. And I think there is a total of about 5,000 fueling stations in the United States out of the gazillion that are there that actually even offer E85. And if you look in the details, less than half of them offer it at a price that's financially more attractive to a customer than gasoline. So it's another one of those where I could put ethanol capability on everything, but why would you do that if the customer can't access that, or if there isn't the proposition in the infrastructure for them to access that? All right, that's it. One more, okay.
What sort of feedback are you getting from F-150 customers who treated it like a V8 and what a V6 or an EcoBoost as far as the drivability, the performance, the fuel economy?
It's been outstanding, and that was actually one of my favorite products, and it was kind of my swan song in powertrain before I moved to the vehicle side. There is once in a while, you get a combination of a vehicle and an engine that is like magic. I wish I could turn it into engineering metrics, because then I'd have us engineers design everything like that, and this is one of those. It's actually not the same performance as a V8, it's better, because that torque curve with a turbocharger, you know, almost instantaneously you're at peak torque, and you hold peak torque all the way through the entire RPM range. I mean, you're basically limited by your transmission more than the engine. And so the customers are finding a performance feel that greatly exceeds anything they were used to with their V8 or that they would have anticipated, and they're getting great fuel economy. So so far it has been an absolute win-win with the truck customers, and like I said, I think we're over double the take rate that we had originally estimated would be there. It's the first time we've put our EcoBoost engine next to our own V8. Our EcoBoost strategy prior to this had been competition offers you a V8, naturally aspirated V8. We offer you that same performance, horsepower, and torque. We offer the better torque curve because of the turbocharger in a V6 fuel. This time with truck customers, they can make their own choice, their own decision, drive them both, get the details of both, and they are clearly appreciating it. It's really but it is a unique, outstanding package. I don't know if anyone in here has ever had the opportunity to drive one, but I think it's one of the best powertrain matches we've put together in a long time. It's fantastic. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciated being here and talking to y'all.